London Kingdoms.
A new dawn. New Year's resolution. The streets of London were quiet, but the city was far from peaceful. The fall of the Syndicate had left a power vacuum, and new factions were emerging, each vying for control. Danny, the Eagle Harris, and Ava, the Viper Snake, leaders of the West End warriors, stood at a crossroads. They had won a hard-fought battle, but the war for the city's soul was far from over, especially as the new year approached, promising both hope and uncertainty. Danny looked out over the cityscape, his mind racing with the possibilities and challenges that lay ahead. Ava, we need to be smart about this. The Syndicate may be gone, but their influence still lingers. We can't let that shadow fall over our city again, especially as we step into a new year. Ava nodded, her eyes reflecting the same determination. I've been thinking about that. We need to establish a new order, one that's fair and just, something that benefits everyone, not just a select few. And what better time to start fresh than with the new year? As they discussed their plans, a new figure entered the scene. Oliver, the Oracle, Thompson, a brilliant strategist and former Syndicate member who had grown disillusioned with Alexander's methods. He approached Danny and Ava with a proposal just as the first snowflakes of the season began to fall, signaling the start of a new chapter. Danny, Ava, I have a plan, Oliver said, his voice calm and measured. We can create a council, a governing body made up of representatives from all the major factions. It would ensure that no single group has too much power, and that decisions are made for the good of the city as a whole. Danny and Ava listened intently, seeing the potential in Oliver's idea. It's a bold move, Oliver, Danny said, but it could work. We'd need to be careful, though. Not everyone will be willing to give up their power so easily, especially as we ring in the new year. Oliver smiled, a glint of cunning in his eyes. That's where you come in, Danny. Your reputation and influence can help sway the others. Together, we can make this work and give the city a true, fresh start. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Syndicate, led by Victor, the Viper Kostopoulos' younger brother, Chris, the Serpent Kostopoulos, were regrouping. Chris, a cunning and ruthless man, saw the formation of the council as a threat to his ambitions. He began to rally the discontented and the disenfranchised, promising them a return to the good old days under Syndicate rule, even as the city prepared to celebrate the new year. Chris stood before a crowd of his supporters, his voice filled with passion and promise. My friends, the time has come for us to take back what is rightfully ours. The council is a farce, a ploy to keep us down. But we will not be silenced. We will rise again, and we will show them the true meaning of power. Let's make this new year one of change, but on our terms. As the council began to take shape, Danny, Ava, and Oliver worked tirelessly to ensure its success. They reached out to other factions, negotiating and compromising to gain their support. The process was fraught with challenges, but their determination never wavered, especially as the countdown to the new year began. One of the key figures they needed to convince was Isabella, the Empress Romano, the leader of the South London Queens, a powerful and influential all-female gang. Isabella was skeptical of the council's intentions, but saw the potential for a better future for her people, especially with the promise of a new beginning. Danny and Ava met with Isabella in her lavish office, surrounded by the symbols of her power and influence. Isabella, Danny began, his voice sincere and respectful. We understand your reservations. But this council is about more than just power. It's about creating a better life for everyone in this city. Let's make this new year one of hope and unity." Isabella listened, her expression thoughtful. "I appreciate your words, Danny, but actions speak louder than words. Show me that this council can make a real difference, and you'll have my support. Let's start this new year with a bang." Danny and Ava left the meeting, knowing that they had planted a seed of hope. They returned to their base, where Oliver was waiting with more news, just as the city began to prepare for the New Year's Eve celebrations. "Danny, Ava, we have a problem," Oliver said, his expression grave. "Chris is gaining traction, and fast. He's promised his supporters a return to the Syndicate's glory days, and they're eating it up. We need to act quickly to counter his influence." Danny nodded, his mind already racing with strategies. "We'll need to show the people that the council is the better choice. We'll start with small victories, tangible improvements in their lives. That will win their hearts and minds and make this new year one to remember for all the right reasons." Ava agreed, her eyes gleaming with determination. "I'll reach out to our contacts in the media. We'll spread the word about the council's successes and expose Chris's true intentions. The people deserve to know the truth." As the council began to implement its first initiatives, the city started to see real change. Crime rates dropped, and resources were distributed more equitably. The people saw the difference, and support for the council grew. Chris, however, was not about to give up without a fight. He launched a series of coordinated attacks on council strongholds, aiming to disrupt their operations and undermine their authority even as the city counted down to midnight. Danny, Ava, and Oliver rallied their forces, determined to protect the council and the progress they had made. They knew that this was a critical moment, a turning point in the city's history. "The time has come to show them the true power of unity," Danny said, his voice filled with resolve. "We stand together, or we fall apart. And I, for one, will not let that happen." The final confrontation between the council's forces and Chris's loyalists was fierce and unforgiving. The streets of London ran red with blood, and the echoes of gunfire and explosions filled the air, a grim contrast to the festive atmosphere. In the end, it was the council's unity and determination that turned the tide, just as the city welcomed the new year with a mix of relief and sadness. As the dust settled and the first light of the new year dawned, Danny, Ava, and Oliver stood amidst the ruins, their expressions a mix of relief and hope. They had won, but at a great cost. The city was forever changed, and the shadows of the past would always linger, even as the new year promised a fresh start. "Danny, what now?" Ava asked, her voice soft and contemplative. "Where do we go from here?" Danny looked out over the city, his eyes filled with determination and hope. "We rebuild, Ava. We rebuild and make this city a better place for everyone. That's our true power, and that's what we'll fight for in this new year." Oliver nodded in agreement, a small smile playing on his lips. "Together, we can create a new dawn for London, a dawn of hope, of unity, and of a brighter future for all. Let's make this new year one to remember." As the story draws to a close, the stage is set for a new chapter in the history of London's criminal underworld. The shadows of the past may linger, but the future is bright, with the promise of change and redemption. The echoes of gunfire and the whispers of betrayal fade into the distance, replaced by the sounds of rebuilding and new hopes.